Guys, welcome back to episode 215 of the To Be Better podcast. Just wanted to give you guys a disclaimer. At about an hour into this podcast, we get an email that deals with religion. I know that a lot of our followers are pagan or atheist, agnostic, whatever your faith is. But we do have a discussion in this podcast about faith. We are trying to be respectful of everyone's beliefs, but we are not going to shy away from having a conversation about our beliefs. So if that's something that you're not into, you're probably going to want to shut this off at about an hour. And we are back.
We are back, bumblebees.
Episode 15 of season 2.
15?
Yep.
What did you think of the cemetery segment?
It was wild. It was wild. I think that the person that did the catacomb story had some pranksters fucking with him.
Yeah.
I think that would be a really cool story for like a movie.
Right.
To like prank American tourists or Australian tourists for that matter, because they were from Australia. But
yeah,
I think that would be a really cool storyline.
That would
and
be.
Make it a horrible, horrible horror movie. And then at the very end, show that it was all special effect college students in France fucking trolling tourists.
I want to be the emailer, please. I would love to act in something, especially if it's like Sharknado quality of movie.
You just want to do something really bad. Huh?
Oh my gosh. Yes. I think I would thrive in it.
Well, as always, guys, this is the To Be Better podcast. If this is your first time here, I am Chris.
And I am Peaches.
And we are not psychiatrists, therapists, or anything else. We are people who are answering emails written in by our fans or followers or others, if you want to call yourself not one of those things, I guess. And we give unbiased opinions. We are going to be answering emails today and giving our thoughts and opinions on them. And hopefully you guys find value in it. And if not, maybe we'll at least keep you entertained for a little bit. I believe we have 5 emails in the ready to go folder or requested folder.
All right. This email is titled, How to Support Emotionally Unavailable Men. My boyfriend and I are a relatively new couple of 5 months, and we don't live together. With that being said, I've noticed some depressive and off behavior from him in December. I asked him if he's okay, and telling him supportive things, people love you, I'm here, you are strong, it's okay to need help, etc. But he would continue to thank me for the reassurance and express that there was nothing to worry about. I would believe him because I trust what he tells me. However, because of his drastic behavior change, I took it personally.
Okay, well, so I really would like to know why you took it personal, but let's break down this time frame real quick, right?
Okay.
They're 5 months.
Correct.
How long does it take for you to gain somebody's trust? Better yet, how long does it take you to trust somebody? It's not
At least a year.
Yeah, it's not happening in 5 months.
At least a year, yeah.
And if for all of you who are like, oh, I trusted my person in 6 months. Did you? Did you tell them every deep, dark secret about your existence in 6 months? Because if you didn't trust them. Because you hold those things close to heart. There are things that you're going to go through in life that you're going to have a hard time divulging to people that you love and have been with for 30 years. Because there's trauma involved and there's a whole lot of things that happen there. So let's just look at the time frame. You've been together for 5 months. He is working through things which he probably should have done before he got into a relationship, assuming that it's that type of problem, which is purely an assumption. He doesn't trust you yet.
Right.
So why would he divulge all of that? What he's doing instead is telling you, hey, don't worry about it. I'll figure this out, because he's always had to do that.
Right. It's not your problem yet.
Right. Men are very accustomed to the fact that women will take our tragedy and our vulnerability and our weaknesses and all of our flaws and weaponize it against us when they need to be able to do that. And it happens so frequently that there is a growing trend of men not divulging shit that could be used against them to break the armor of who they are because they've had to build walls. So if you're 5 months in a relationship and your man is not being vulnerable with you, emotionally,
Open.
whatever, that's why. And when you go, well, that's not me, you're right, it's not, but it is your species. It is the women of the culture who are throwing it back in our faces, weaponizing it, manipulating it, telling us that we're not allowed to be vulnerable, and then telling us we're supposed to be vulnerable. And then when we are vulnerable, weaponizing it again and throwing it back in our face. We are not allowed to be that. And it takes a very special woman for a man to truly open up and be 100% forthcoming about what's going on with their emotions. And that takes a lot of fucking trust. So let's preface this entire email with that, knowing that you may not be the problem in his world, but because of life experiences and the things that have been done to him, he's not going to just give you that. You're going to have to earn it.
Taking it personally is also a cognitive bias that you're living through.
Yeah.
Just take a step back, take a deep breath. You guys are 5 months together. You should be more focused on learning him than worrying about what he's stressing about in life.
Yeah. What does that say about somebody's thought process, though? I'm taking his depression personal.
It gives me fixer vibes.
Yeah. All I can think of is being fucking super depressed and then having somebody get mad at me because I'm not able to act the way that they want me to act.
So yes, people do get mad about that.
I know they do.
I would also hate to experience the constant, babe, are you okay? What's going on?
Right.
I'm here if you need to talk about it. Remember, people love you. If
That's lip service. When you're in that state of mind, that's lip service.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I don't want to hear any of that shit.
Yep.
Sit here with me in silence and let's watch our favorite TV show and just wait for me to get through this day.
Yeah. Let me get through it. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
For me.
Me too. I like being held.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're a touchy person. I'm not. Just weird because I give really good hugs. I'm a big guy. So it's like a big teddy bear hug. But I don't like being touched. And though I will put myself out at times when people need it, when I am going through it, I don't want to be touched.
Not even by me?
Not in a hold me scenario. If I'm overstimulated, that's different. But when I'm depressed, no. I want our normal, your feet in my lap. Don't try to over cuddle me. Don't try to soothe me.
So don't change how I'm acting.
Right. Just
to be
go about your normal life and let me process my shit. What?
I'm confused. So are you not a touchy person now? Because you told me that was one of the ways that you felt loved by me.
When I'm depressed, I'm not.
Okay.
I don't like being touched by people in general.
So you mean just specifically in the depressive moments?
Right.
Okay.
No, I mean in general, I don't like people touching me.
Right.
But it's different when it's your person touching you.
Right.
Because you have a free pass to do that, right? Because we're together. But the idea of just strangers walking up and grabbing my arm and going, let me see your tattoo. It's really hard to fucking see with your eyes swollen shut. Like, don't touch me.
Yeah.
It's a different process.
I get that, yeah.
But I'm also the type of person that when somebody's going through something, I'll try to hug them because I don't know what else to do. Like,
yeah, I don't know how to comfort.
Yeah.
Especially if like there's a loss. I can bake you cookies. You want to go eat? Like, that's how I know to make people feel better is food.
That episode of The Chosen where Matthew saw Gaius getting emotional and Peter was like, say something. And Matthew was like,
there.
Yeah, I get it, Matthew. I get it.
Yes. Matthew is my favorite character.
Yeah, on that show.
Yeah. I relate to him so much. Like someone will say something outside the neck and he's like, no, that's not right. Like why? They're like, I'm being sarcastic. Relax.
Yeah.
I have such a hard time picking up on that sometimes. Okay. So within our relationship, we are very touchy-feely. In depressive moments, I tend, like when you're really, really going through it, I tend to dial it back a little bit. Because I know when you're depressed, you're thinking about a lot and there's sounds and noises and lights are too bright and the overstimulation kicks in. So I don't want to add to that. But I don't take it all away. There's still head kisses and shoulder touches and...
Right.
Do you think most men need that?
I can't speak for most men.
Just quiet time and gentle affection?
A gentle affection. Maybe just do you need anything?
Mm-hmm.
What we don't need is the berating, the constant barrage of questions. What's wrong? What are you going through?
I can tell something's going on.
Right. Because in the event that like, and we do this, if something's going on with us and I can tell you're off and I go, hey, I can tell you're off, and you go, it's nothing. The fuck it is. I know you better than that. But if you say I'm processing some things and when I work through it, we'll have a discussion about it, I will simply go, did I do something wrong?
Right.
And if so, we need to address this now because I'm going to be in a, oh fuck.
Panic.
Right. And if that is the case, we'll set some time aside and do a check-in and just kind of work through whatever is happening in the moment. But I don't know. My depression is weird. Like I don't get depressed like I was before. My depressions are, I can't believe I sat around all day and did nothing, right? Like yesterday, I didn't leave the house. That's a lie. I left the house briefly yesterday morning.
Oh yeah, you did.
But I don't, I literally sat on the couch all fucking day yesterday. I took a nap, laid down twice, almost slept a second time. Like I'm exhausted. I'm mentally tired. Like, but I know that like I'm not supposed to sleep during the daytime. If you and the kids are here, I can't nap because I'm so used to being in trouble for sleeping in the middle of the day because of my childhood. Like you're not allowed to sleep during the daytime. If you're up at a certain point and you don't get to go to bed until sun goes down, you know? So I can't really nap around other people. It's very hard for me to do that.
I get that.
But yesterday I just felt so run down. And today, because I got fucking four hours of sleep last night, uninterrupted sleep. It wasn't 4 hours. It was 30 minutes, 25 minutes, an hour.
You just kept waking up?
Over and over all night last night.
Was it dreams? Or?
It was, well, some of it was dreams. Some of it was me twitching, hitting the fucking headboard with my ring.
Oh, yeah.
Or you fidgeting. Or little man coming in with a drink at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like it was just one thing after another all fucking night.
Yeah, my ankle did the thing last night. And every time I moved, it was pain.
Yeah. So with us waking up today, having to get up when I did because of what was going on this morning, I feel fucking exhausted all over again today. And I was really hoping to like not feel like this today. But I talked to Jordan. Jordan and I are going to go ride bikes again in a week or two on the 3rd, whatever day that falls on. Today's the 20th, so in like
that's Sunday.
10 or 15 days, yeah. So we're going to go do another bike ride, and that'll give me some recharge time. And, you know, we're doing the gym thing still, even though I didn't work out today. But none of that's really relevant. Let's get back to the email.
Back into the email. So emailer took it personally because there was a drastic change of behavior. If nothing was truly wrong with him, it had to be something I was doing. Why? To anybody who rationalizes that to themselves. So if there's nothing truly wrong with them, because that's what they're telling me, I'm the problem. How are you rationalizing that? You don't live together. You guys are maybe having sleepovers, an hour and a half lunch date. How are you the problem?
I forgot the whole they don't live together thing.
Yeah.
How do you even know?
Right.
Right? Like, what if he's just fucking busy?
Or tired.
Right. Well, you know, if I'm in the garage and I'm working on something and you text me, I'm not responding right away.
Right. And I know that.
And when I do respond, it's super fucking short because I could be covered in grease. I could have metal shavings in my hands. I could be laying on the fucking ground. I could have hit myself in the face with a breaker bar. Like, I'm not trying to have a conversation right now. I'm fucking busy. What is this important? Like,
is there an emergency?
And that's very different than, hey, I just saw a raccoon on the side of the road. Neat.
Yeah, no, I know that's something I would have to wait for a response on.
Right. Yeah. So is that what they're talking about? Because again, it's hypothetical. We don't know. But if they're not together all the time and they don't live together and she only sees him when he's available, maybe he is putting himself in uncomfortable situations to be able to spend time with you. Here's another hypothetical. Let's say he's a brick mason, right? Let's say he lays block for a living.
Okay.
He works from 4:30 in the morning, gets up at 4:30 in the morning, is at work by 5:30 and works until 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, goes home, showers, and then she wants to spend time with him. So he then takes his tired ass after a 12-hour day of bricklaying on a date. Think you're going to get the best version of somebody when they're exhausted like that? No, you're not.
You know that moment this morning where you're like, when you mentioned something about thinking of songs and want to putting it in on a clip? You said brick and my mind went, house. Ow, she's my tomato.
That's funny.
Took everything in me not to interrupt you.
I had so many of those moments today while editing those 2 episodes with you and Lauren.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fun.
It's not, because we will get demonetized on YouTube if I put a clip in for too long. It will demonetize us.
That takes the fun out of things.
It does, but some of those clips, like,
it increases viewership.
Right. Well, it's fun. Yeah.
So 5 months in, you really don't know this dude's life. You don't know his relationship with his parents. You don't know if he has maybe a disabled family member that he's worried about. It could be anything. It could be his boss. It could be the fact that he doesn't feel like he is where he should be in his life right now. And he feels like a failure.
Yep.
All of that has absolutely nothing to do with you. Even now, when I ask my husband, babe, is there anything I can do? And he tells me no, it's no. I'm going to carry on about doing my things that I do as his wife and continue loving him and maybe make a favorite dinner that night and do the supportive things behind the scenes, because you sitting there talking about it could just make you more depressed because there's no solution in that moment. To satiate my own anxiety within me by continuing to probe and push, and you have to tell me what's wrong, that's selfish.
You know how often people are just feel exhausted?
I feel that right now.
Right, so do I.
I am so tired.
But that is a feeling of depression.
Mm-hmm.
So people who are just fucking exhausted, on the outside looking at them, they could be like, damn, they're going through it. No, bro, we're tired. Like,
just mentally, spiritually, physically.
I need a fucking break. Like,
Yeah.
you never know what it could be. But the point in that is that I think that that's important. Sometimes we just need a fucking break.
Yeah.
And while we're trying to relax and spend time with you guys and like have a break, not think about finances, not think about work, not think about whatever.
Not think about whatever is making you feel this way.
Right. And then, well, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong?
I can tell. Come
What's
on,
wrong?
tell me.
Talk to me. Did I do something? Is it me? Bro,
I just really feel like it's me. Your whole behavior's changed.
go home. It's been fun. Thanks for coming over. I'm gonna need you to leave now. Or hey, thanks for inviting me for dinner. I've lost my appetite. I'm gonna go home. And then I'm gonna go to bed. And you're not gonna hear from me until the next day. Be like, oh, what happened? Well, I fell asleep. I was exhausted. I wasn't depressed. There was nothing wrong. I told you I was tired and you wouldn't shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And then they would continue to take that personally if they're that kind of person to probe like that.
Well, they would take that you didn't shut the fuck up personal anyways.
That would make me laugh.
Yeah.
There was one night when we were dating. It was like 11 o'clock at night and we were getting cozy in bed. It was a sleepover. And you looked at me and were like, would you be upset if I asked you to go home right now?
We've talked about this on the
Have
podcast.
we talked about this? I didn't take it personally. I just wish you had told me sooner. I was already ready for bed. I was so tired.
Yeah.
There is a grace and compassion that comes with getting to know somebody and falling in love with them and then continuing to love them.
You don't know what people are going through either.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like and I remember that night and I know why, and because we've already talked about it, I'm not going to deep dive that again. You guys could watch previous episodes and figure that out, but that could be a lot of things for somebody. So knowing what mine was, I'll give a different example. What if just having somebody there is overwhelming?
Right.
What
Just
if they're
the presence.
overstimulated? What if they don't talk or won't shut up? Or what if they just don't want to be touched and you want to lay on them, right? Like you don't know. And because 5 months, things are new and shiny, you don't want to say things that's going to hurt your person. And you don't want to like be rude, so you suffer, or you have to speak up and go, hey, I think can you go home tonight so that I can have the night to myself? Like, I don't know. 5 months is not a very long time, especially
really
to be acting like they owe you everything.
Right. Back into the email, I had asked to talk and told him how alone I had felt, that I had noticed he didn't find interest in me, and that I wasn't what he wanted or needed. He had opened up that he was going through something and that he knows he's emotionally unavailable, but that he enjoys me and wants me. He said he doesn't know if he's ready.
Hold on.
Okay.
How are you emotionally unavailable, but still saying that you enjoy and want someone?
You need to figure that out before you get into a relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. He shouldn't be talking to somebody if he knows he's emotionally unavailable.
100%.
I think that people use people for distractions.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
People end up getting hurt because of it.
He said he doesn't know if he's ready for a relationship because of what has come up. My suspicion is he's afraid to be vulnerable and it's triggering childhood trauma.
You guys have been together for 5 months. What do you mean he's not ready for a relationship? I wonder if they're actually got a title.
Right.
Or if they've just been fucking this whole time. And things are starting to get serious now and old boy's getting scared.
Yeah. That's a really good question. I said I wouldn't be going anywhere if he didn't want me to, and that I would stick by his side. Personally, I have depression of my own, and the lack of deeper communication, not seeing him as much, the surface level personally, how dull and sparkless we are is almost like I'm grieving us. Relationships go through its phases, and when one of us needs the other, we hold on and love unconditionally.
At 5 months?
Yeah, no, that is... You guys don't even have a foundation yet.
Nope.
You're in a sinking boat, and you're already planning what house you want to build on an island you find.
I think they both need to take some time alone and work through their shit, figure out their depression, figure out if they even want relationships. This is people are lonely as fuck.
Yeah.
And they just latch on to anything they can to give them that dopamine hit.
I think there's a validation in it too.
Yeah.
That the person themselves is lovable enough to be loved by someone.
I don't know. We are more disconnected than we have ever been as a species.
Mm-hmm.
We don't talk. We don't touch. Nothing. Everything is digital. You have no real human connection anymore. So when you get a little bit of a human connection, it feels really fucking good. And people take that for more than it actually fucking is. It's just, I don't know. Guys need to slow down. People just need to slow down.
They do. When I was a child, I would think that any boy that talked to me had a crush on me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was because I was craving the human interaction or the attention or the love. I thought anybody that talked to me was my best friend as a child. And my feelings got hurt a couple of times because I would treat someone like my best friend. They were like, I don't even know who you are really. Like, you need to
slow down.
Yeah. And I'm like, damn. So you're right. And that started for me in my childhood, craving that human connection. That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Look at me figuring out shit about myself on the podcast. Back into the email. I just don't know how to support the relationship. Give him the space he needs to figure himself out. Support myself and take care of my duties as a woman while being so incredibly alone. Proving to him that I'm not going to abandon him might break me. He's such an amazing man, and an email isn't enough to explain how gentle and kind his soul is.
It's been 5 months.
5 months.
Cut him loose. Let him work on his shit, and if he wants to come back, he will. And if not, you're not killing yourself trying to prove something to someone that's not worthy of that.
Right.
Do you hear how fucking like needy that sounds?
It sounds desperate.
I don't get it. You guys, if you're in a first year with somebody, and you are building that foundation and things get real fucking rocky, you really need to weigh if it's worth pushing through that. Right? Like, you are learning someone right now. Not planning a wedding, not planning a baby. You should be learning them.
Correct.
And if you are both dealing with depression and you can't fucking get along and you're pouring into them and they're just taking it from you, they're an emotional vampire. They're sucking your fucking energy out of you. Like, set your boundaries. Be like, look, until you figure your shit out, I can't be here. I also deal with depression, and your depression is fucking with my depression. I don't get that. That email makes no sense to me. At 5 months, why don't you just sever ties and move the fuck on? You're not in love. You're in lust.
Correct. The first year of a relationship should be the courting phase.
Mm-hmm. It's exciting and lustful, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
But you're right. It should be the foundation building. You should be courting and learning each other, not planning your future.
Mm-hmm.
Slow the fuck down.
I wish I did. So looking back, I don't regret anything in my life, right? Because it made me into who I am now. Looking back at my life, there were certainly things I wish that I did differently. Of course, it would have altered everything. If I could go back and change it, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because I know the outcome.
Right. Well, if you never know what's changing, one thing could do.
Right.
You know, you, for example, you could have said something to somebody in 7th grade that hurt their feelings, realized that it hurt their feelings, and dwelled on it for a day or two, and you going back and going, hey, I just wouldn't have said that. You don't know what the thought process subconsciously did to you during that 48 hours where you felt bad that would have changed your personality today.
Right.
So like, I wouldn't change anything either. My past is exactly what it needed to be for me to get to where I am and where we are. And our relationship is thriving. Our podcast is good. We're helping people. People are not unaliving themselves because of us. Like, I don't, my hardships got me here.
Yeah. You want to do another email?
Yes.
Relationship pitfalls and cheating. Dear Chris and Peaches, I love y'all, and I wish I was writing just to let y'all know what a fan I am, but it seems I instead need some advice and clarity. I do apologize for the length of this message.
This message will self-destruct. Remember that from Inspector Gadget?
Yeah, I do. I, 30 male, and my fiance/ex-fiance, 20 female, got together last year and quickly got pregnant.
So you met a 19-year-old when you were 29, slept with her, got her pregnant within the first year and know nothing about her.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Also, no clarification as if to they are engaged or not right now.
Well, this said ex, so I'm assuming they were and are not now.
Well, it says my fiance/ex-fiance.
Yeah.
So which one?
Was and is not. and hopeful that she will be again is the way I
don't
see
know,
that.
maybe. Back into the email, things were great. I mean, for the first time in my life, I was in a healthy relationship where we didn't argue or fight. There was almost no drama, and we were all about each other. For the first time in my life, I found myself committed to one woman without temptation.
I wonder what he meant by we are all about each other, because that sounds like a sexual statement.
It says, yeah, lustful.
Okay. Yep.
And they got together last year. So that first year will be super lustful and...
Right. And then there's a pregnancy involved.
Mm-hmm. Even when temptation came across, all I could think about was everything I would be giving up if I gave in, if that makes sense, so I couldn't. All that changed when her mom lost her house and moved in with us, which led to an eviction and us all getting a big house together. As the market in our area is incredibly tough, it seemed like a good idea. It was like overnight, all of a sudden, we were arguing and fighting about stuff. I could write a whole letter about the toxic nature of her mother and how these fights were instigated at least 80% of the time by her. It was just really, really bad. But again, it was nothing that we couldn't get past or work through.
So let's talk about that.
Okay.
He's 30 years old. She's 19.
Correct.
29 and 19, right? Because there's a 10-year age gap. At 19 years old, she was probably still living with her mother while they were dating.
Right.
Right? So she's a child. She's not experienced life on her own yet. They got together and had a child. And now the child and the mom are living in his house while she's still a child to her mother.
Correct.
Right? Because there's a difference. When you're at 19, 20, 21 years old, when you're living at home still, you have to live under your parents' rules. So mom still has that I am king of the castle going right now. They move in with him, and now there's conflict because mom and him can't figure out things or whatever the mom is doing because
There's no
mom
head of
is
the
used
household.
to being in charge. Right.
Yeah.
This is a mess already.
This is a mess. I think of myself up until the age of 25 of me still being a child because I still had thought patterns to work through from my childhood that was bleeding into reality for me.
Well, they say that the human brain stops developing at 25, or you get to the point where like all of your basic functions are solidified by that point. I don't remember how that was worded, but I read something on that like 4 days ago.
Oh, crazy. Back into the email. So my son is born and I'm working 2 jobs, one during the day and one overnight from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. And I'm averaging close to 18 hours a day working. About 2 weeks before the incident. That's the sentence.
Okay.
About 2 weeks before the incident. I'm about to describe her best friend and basically brother. There were quotation marks for those listening.
Yeah. She's okay.
Her words apparently fell on hard times, which was due to none other than his choices. And since we had this big old house now and a bunch of rooms, she wanted to help him out by giving him a place to stay.
So it wasn't bad enough that mom moved in and fucked up your life. Now you're letting her fuck buddy move in. Because I guarantee you that's what that's going
That's
to
exactly, yes, 100%. They're fucking.
You remember that Chick-fil-A, bitch, you better not have no brothers.
No.
Give me some waffle fries. You don't remember that?
No, I'm sorry. Chick-fil-A had a commercial.
It wasn't a commercial.
Oh,
It was some dude like, I met this girl the other day. And he was just super aggressive telling the story about it.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's like, give me some waffle fries for free. That's all I can think of. Whenever people are like her brother, I'm like, bitch, better not have no brothers. That's a mistake.
I don't know, something about your face when you do that snarl.
I would never, ever in my life, if I had a woman in my life talking about, oh, that's my cousin or that's my brother, we're like brothers. No, the fuck you're not. No, you're not. I don't believe that.
No.
Nope.
No, when I was a teenager, this was really shitty of me. When I was a teenager, I was dating a dude who had a best friend, and his best friend and I became super close. And I was like, oh, he's like my brother. And we would go out and do like mall trips together and spend quality time. And we started to get to know one another. And then I left my boyfriend for him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. There's always nefarious shit there. There are people that have known each other their entire life. I'm not saying that it can't happen, but I'm saying more often than not, that other person is there's an interest there, an intimacy there.
Right.
Some need is being fulfilled in that relationship.
Right.
I think it's the phrasing that bothers me. They're like a brother to me because they're trying to manipulate you into a sense of comfort.
Sense of safety.
Right. If she was like, I've known him since kindergarten, we're just friends, I would believe that a whole lot more than that's like my cousin or that's like my brother.
Yeah, why are you trying to sell it so hard?
That's what you're doing. You're trying to sell it.
Yeah. Back into the email.
That's a mistake.
Back into the email. Since we were already on rocky ground, I told her that I didn't like it and I wasn't comfortable with it, and I think we should focus on our family and our newborn son right now. I agree with that statement. To be clear, I do not hang out with women, and I set the same boundary for her and other men when we got together. But then her and her mom told me that it was slightly controlling and unfair, and over the course of a couple of days, they just kind of badgered me until I gave in, thinking we just had a baby.
Okay, so, okay. How does that sound to you?
Like they can both get the fuck out of my house.
That's exactly how that sounds. It sounds to me like you were incapable of leading your home and your family. And if this is the case, if they have already had this agreement and that person was not in the picture to be like, well, what about Mark? Mark, I've known him since kindergarten. Him and I are just really close friends. Mm-hmm. He's like a brother to me. Now all of a sudden Mark's in the picture. That was never discussed, and she wants to help him with a place to stay, and mom is talking about that's controlling. Mom, you're a guest in my fucking home.
Right.
I'm working to provide for you. You can shut the fuck up or you can move out. How about that for control? This is my castle. You're a fucking guest here.
Correct.
And I would look at the girlfriend and be like, we're not married. I am the father of that child and I'll support that child and I will do the best that I can for you and that child while we're together. But if you think that another man is going to move into my domain, you can move the fuck out with your mom too.
Play that game. That man showed weakness.
Yeah, absolutely did.
He was coerced. And he let it happen.
Yep.
Yep. I love that we said that at the same time.
He did. This is what happens when you are a frail individual.
You're so hot.
This is what happens when you set a boundary and allow somebody to break that boundary.
Yep.
This is not okay with me. And then it starts happening and you let it happen. You no longer have a leg to stand on.
Correct.
You drew a line in the stand and they overstepped it. So you took 3 steps back and drew a new line. You crossed that one, but don't cross this one. And then they cross it. You take 5 steps back.
Now, seriously, guys.
Yeah, this is it. This is the red line in the sand. Don't cross this one.
You don't want to do that because there'll be consequences. I don't know what they are yet. And I haven't implemented any yet, but just know.
And then you're 40 feet back wondering how the fuck you got there. I hate that. It's controlling shit.
Me too.
Ain't nobody holding you hostage.
Right. Get the fuck out.
This is the expectation that I have for my relationship in my life. And if you don't like it, get out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
To be together in is agreement. It's not a compromise. It's an agreement. This is how we're going to live our life. Are you going to hold true to that agreement? No. Okay, well, that was the agreement we had. I'm not renegotiating this contract because you showed me that the agreements that we make are not binding.
Right.
You don't care enough about what I've got going on for me to have to worry about what you've got going on at this point. You've showed me that I'm not a priority to you. Therefore, I'm not going to make you a priority to me.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. That whole situation is nasty.
Yeah, I wouldn't tolerate any of this.
I wonder what the age difference is between him and mom.
Oh, that's a good question. I can trust my woman. Surely she wouldn't do anything to jeopardize what we have because I haven't done anything to jeopardize it.
And you figured that out in a year while she was 19 and pregnant and hormonal and you're not home and you're working 18 hours a week and her fucking mom is there.
Right.
Crazy.
I started noticing all kinds of red flags almost right off the bat, but convinced myself it's all in my head because we just had a baby, right? January 26th at 4:54 a.m., I got off of work 2 hours early and I pulled into my driveway. And the house was quiet and I went downstairs and I heard it before I opened the door.
They were fucking.
And they were, I mean, in the
10
most
toes to
pornographic sense. It was the fucking horrific and heartbreaking.
Yeah, there you go. Called that one.
I still don't know how I managed to control myself, except that it was like my son's name was being screamed in the back of my mind, telling me to maintain control, and so I did.
Is it your son?
Elaborate.
I think that's a fair question.
Why do you say that?
Because she's obviously fucking somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had a DNA test to determine if that is actually your child?
Oh, that's a good question. I would 100% do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Take that baby to...
Swab its mouth. No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could actually take it to a clinic and be like, I need a DNA test of my son.
Really? I did not know you could do that.
But, swabs are the easier way. You can just have it sent to your fucking house, send it back out. But
swab his mouth. That's what
you
I
have to
should have
swab
said.
both.
I said it. Swab his mouth.
Yeah.
Because I forgot the gender. And I don't like that, so I'm correcting it.
Yep. You could easily just make a doctor appointment and go in there and be like, I want a DNA test. That should be done. That should be mandatory. It should be mandatory everywhere
Yeah.
on the planet. When you have a child, you should have a DNA test to find out if the father is actually the father before the birth certificate is signed.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not done, like if the mother refuses to allow that to happen, she forgoes any form of child support or alimony or anything moving forward with that child, because she's basically saying he's not the father.
Yep.
And I know he's not the father. Or there could be 12 people who are the father, and I'm not willing to DNA test everybody I fucked over the last 2 years or year. Yeah.
Crazy.
Mandatory DNA tests need to be written into law. You can do it while mom's in the hospital giving birth. Dad can pop in and be like, get it ready to go. As soon as that baby's born, swab and check.
What's really humiliating is I'm a strong man, and yet somehow still I begged her and embarrassed myself saying, don't give up on our family. What the hell? Just let me forgive you.
Do you believe that? That first sentence?
If he's a man?
No, that he's a strong man, because I don't.
No, a strong man. That was the first thing that I latched onto was I don't believe you're a strong man.
I don't either. Because if you were a strong man, you would not have allowed them to break your boundaries.
Right, you would have stood in your convictions.
That dude would not have moved into your home.
Correct.
And before anybody goes, it's not his home, it's their home. No, it's his.
He's
working 18 hours a day to provide for the mother of the mother, and the child. That's his fucking house.
Yeah.
They're not married.
I was met with dead eyes and a stone cold face. It was the strangest thing, like I was looking at a completely different person, someone that I didn't even know at all. So what you're seeing is her. You're just removing your illusion of her.
Yep.
This is who she's been the whole time, my guy. I hate to tell you that. So I kicked the dude out, and I'm sitting there broken and trying to get her to talk to me and figure out what we're going to do and where we went wrong. And I'm racking my brain like, what did I do? Did I actually deserve this? But she goes up and she hangs out with her mom for a little bit explaining what's going on. And when she comes back downstairs, I'm informed that the man I just caught fucking my woman is coming back because he's family, they said. And they won't kick family out onto the street.
You can kick all three of them out then.
Keep the baby. Baby can stay here. Y'all can get the fuck out.
Yep.
How deep are you willing to go for this? I would allow them to foreclose on that house. I would move out. I would stop making the mortgage payments.
Well, it doesn't say he bought the house. They said they moved into it. It could be a rental thing. But he's already paying for everything on his own. And if he's feeding them, those two adult mouths leaving, they're not married. She's going to get child support. It'll be cheaper to pay child support than it would be to support those 4 people, because the boy is coming back.
Right.
Whatever he is.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys can go. I'm going to go ahead and just do this by myself. Oh, man, could you imagine being in that position where they were like, yeah, I know you just caught me 10 toes to Jesus, but we're going to go ahead and just do the thing. He's going to come back and live here, and you're just going to suck it up and deal with it.
For those of you that have watched You, I keep Love Quinn locked away in my brain. She's an emotionally unstable killer. So in moments of emotion, she can't stop herself. Unhinged me, that would be one of those moments.
Yeah. There's no fucking way. Over my dead body would he be back in this house. Over y'all's dead bodies, would that even be a thing?
Right. I'm putting myself in this position now, right? Like if I'm out working, say I make $400,000 a year with some business that I made, and you stay home and you do the husband thing, right? The house husband. And I come home early from work one day and you're here with a woman and I'm told you don't have a choice. She's staying here. Oh yeah. Yep.
You know a song by Justin Holmes, I Saw Red? Yep. Such a good song. And it's so fitting for this
I'm
scenario.
making myself mad.
I know. It's bothering me too.
I'm making myself mad. The fuck you mean I have no choice? Mm-hmm. First of all, he's not blood. Second of all, if he's family, then what does that make me? He comes back and I had to deal with him for 24 hours.
You didn't have to. You chose to. You allowed that to happen, dude.
Correct.
You're not an innocent victim in this. Mm-hmm. You're innocent in that she fucked someone else and that baby might not be yours. But everything that's happened until this point, you've had a hand in.
Yeah, you've allowed it.
You've allowed it. You've let the mom to move in. You let him move in. And now you're letting him be there again. Is their name anywhere on the lease on anything?
Right.
That's a question, right? Like if her name is on the lease, the girlfriend's she could be a roommate, But legally, unless you're allowed to sublet and it's in your lease, they're not allowed to even be there. They're not allowed to live there. They can't be more there for, I think, 3 nights is the law. 72 hours is what that is in most leases. I've seen them up to a week in case like family comes down and shit. Nobody ever really enforces that. But, you know, if people are there for a long enough time or they get mail there or their underwear are there for a long enough time, they consider tenants.
Yeah.
But you allowed that to happen. The choices that you have made have gotten you to this point.
In reading this email and the victim mindset and everything that's going on, I do not view this as a strong man. This is a weak man, in my opinion. And I can guarantee that your child's mother and her mother view you the exact same way.
Yeah.
They know they are taking advantage of you, and they probably joke about it.
Yeah, probably. And you allow it to happen. So
I was that woman. I would make fun of a man that I could take advantage of because he was weak.
oh man, I hate hearing that from you.
I had a group of friends, and we would all joke about it. I used to be a really shitty human being.
Yeah.
I'm still angry about the situation that I put myself in. I don't know what to do. Oh, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I just kind of stayed quiet and did my best to control my temper because I wanted to murder him. He was in my house, eating my food, and he just fucked my woman, and this punk had the gall to come back into my house. All of this tough talk, and you specifically, the emailer, just sat there and let it happen.
Yep. And let them come back.
This
This isn't the only time they fucked.
Right. No,
this is the time
not.
You caught them. Right.
Correct. This is that justice warrior typing behind the board. I can say what I want to say because there's going to be no repercussion in my reality from this. If you had actually stood up in that moment, there could have been a physical altercation.
Could have been. And it doesn't mean that's necessarily the answer. But
right.
If you were willing to be combative about the shit, he wouldn't have come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'd have fucking.
I'd burn the house down.
I'm not even gonna speak on that anymore.
No one's sleeping in this house. That's my petty, my illogical, and my anger. Logically, either all of you are getting the fuck out, or I am leaving. I am not paying the rent on this. Y'all can figure that out, and I will take the child with me because I have the sustainable income.
Yep.
I'll see you in court if that's what you would like to do.
I would have just kicked all 3 of them out. And if they refuse to leave, realistically, the violent thing in me, the violence, I would have preferred that option.
Yes.
But knowing that there's a child in the home and that there's going to be court cases and shit coming, logic brain tells me the answer to that is to call the police and be like, hey, they refuse to leave. I have a man in my home and I don't feel safe. Mm-hmm. He's threatened me and he won't leave. He told me he has a weapon. You guys need to get here quickly because I will defend myself. Yep, I would manipulate that whole situation just to get him out of there. And then if she's on the lease, that changes the way that they got to go too, but I'd kick them out also.
Right.
I would be wary about leaving the house of them if it's in his name and not paying it because that's going to end up on his credit. And in the event that they destroy the house because it's in his name, he's going to be the one that has to pay for all the fixings.
I would reach out to the landlord and say, I've lost my job. I can't pay the rent anymore. Is there any way we can just absolve the lease or I can pay the next month of rent, but I'm moving out. Gives you time to find a new tenant.
Yep.
Back into the email. I tried to stay, but it came to the point where all I could think about was literally unaliving this dude, so I packed up and left. It has been about 2.5 weeks since all of this has happened. I drank the first couple of nights, but made a decision not to drown my pain and instead have been going to the gym twice a day. And I've maintained both my jobs as well as taking every moment I can to go see my son. And I've also remained absolutely civil, oftentimes refusing to speak or look at her. This is a tale of caution to men.
Yep.
Do not let the pretty smile suck you in. Get to know somebody before you have a child with somebody.
Slow the fuck down.
Seriously.
That's this episode's title.
Slow down.
Slow down.
Back into the email. My problem is this. If we didn't have a child together, I would walk away so quickly. But I come from broken homes, and I have a daughter from a previous relationship who I have custody of and have for the last 7 years. And I have watched what a broken home has done to my daughter.
Hold on. Whoa. How are you just now telling us that you have a 7-year-old daughter who lives in this house? So all of the conflict, all of the drama and the shit that's been unfolding.
I bet that 7-year-old knew that she was fucking him.
I'm willing to bet she did and probably didn't know how to discuss it with her dad or realize what was going on. But looking back on it, I bet she'd be like, yeah, they were absolutely inappropriate with each other. This kid has witnessed all of this now. So you want to talk about a broken home because you were a
Right.
product of a broken home and you have custody of your kid? Your kid is living in that situation.
You've not done it just once now with leaving her mother. You've
Right.
done it again. There's another child involved with another woman.
Yeah.
You are no longer in that situation. Holy shit. You are repeating what you have gone through already.
Yep.
You are already in the cycle that you're worried about.
But we know that he's capable of taking care of a child and getting custody of it. So there's a plus in that, I guess.
There is.
Bro, you guys, men, gentlemen, you really need to slow the fuck down. We live in a time where we are still supposed to be the providers, so much so that even though women are equal and can do all the same shit men can, in the event of a divorce or a child, we have to give up half of all of our shit. You have to pay alimony. Women will fucking find a man who's willing to work and trap his ass to fucking get a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
You can say women don't do that all you fucking want. The court system says otherwise. We actually have an interview next month with the people who did the We the Parents documentary that talks about how hard it is for the parents to get custody of their kids.
I'm so excited about that.
Yeah. I don't fucking envy people in the dating game at all. I don't trust people. I think that everyone's got an ulterior motive, and like, being that I don't trust people, it takes a long fucking time to get in my good graces. The idea of just meeting somebody and having a fucking kid, like, are you nuts? I'm good on that shit. No, thank you.
I so badly don't want that for my son, so in some way I feel obligated to forgive her and fix my family. But how can I ever look at her the same? When I see her, all I see is the two of them going at it, and it plays like a movie in my head over and over.
DNA test, bro.
I couldn't forgive that. I couldn't. That is calculated. She moved in her mistress,
Her side piece.
her side piece, whatever the dude version of that is. She moved him in and was probably fucking him every single night that you worked.
Yeah, probably. They were probably in a full relationship. You were the caretaker. And I'm willing to bet that she told the other guy, like, look, he's my baby's daddy. He's paying for us. I need him right now. I can't do this financially.
We don't have sex though. Like, we're not in a relationship.
Right. We're not intimate anymore.
Yeah.
He's abusive. He's mean and spewing all this shit. And dude moves in and is fucking taking advantage of the whole situation. And there's probably talks of, as soon as we can get enough money, we'll get our own place and I'll leave him and we can be together. And
right. I've never had anxiety in my life, but now I'm getting panic attacks at work to where I can't breathe.
anxiety is an alarm system.
Yep.
That's your body telling you that shit's not right.
And it's not. It is not. I can't sleep. I can't eat. My head will literally start pounding and I will start shaking. This shit has got me shook to the core. I'm just so confused because I still love her, but I don't want her back, if that makes sense, because it's ruined. It's tainted. But at the same time, I feel such a strong obligation to my son to try and make things work for her. To be a shining example of forgiveness, if that makes sense, so that my son will know what love really means and not just a 21st century brand of what we call love. Before you go off, the mother of your child had a full-blown relationship with the man that she moved in behind your back, and you think forgiveness equates to love? You want to set that example for you? Do you want your son to go through exactly what you're going through right now? The mother might not change. She might continue with that behavior with a string of men, and all of these things might go on. It doesn't matter. The example that you can set, though, is that as a man, you will absolutely not tolerate that behavior from the woman who's expected to be your wife.
We are a generation of men raised by women. Fight Club.
I'm just absolutely flabbergasted.
So that's what's going to happen. You're going to forgive her, go back. If you think that that's what you should do, you're going to forgive her and go back and live like a simp for the rest of your fucking life.
Yep.
While she does whatever the fuck she wants to do, and you continue to provide a life for her, being taken advantage of, knowing that she's fucking other people, questioning whether or not the kid is yours. What happens if she gets pregnant again? Are you going to trust that? So how is that going to look? Why don't you instead leave, try to get custody of your son and raise him to be a fucking man, so that this doesn't happen to him when he grows up?
And find a woman that has the same understanding of what love is as you do.
Yeah, how in love are you in the first year of a relationship? You're in lust.
You're in lust.
Puppy love. It's new and shiny, and it's so exciting and fun, and the sex is amazing.
You don't love this woman. You look at her and are instantly enraged.
Yep. I mean, maybe he does love her. I don't know. I don't believe that's the case, but I think that love takes time. I think that, oh man. Anyways, I would not go back to this. I would get a DNA test and I would try to get custody of my kid. I would get a DNA test first and then decide whether or not I'm going to try to get custody of my kid.
Back into the email.
Is there more?
There is.
Oh man.
This letter isn't so much advice on me and her because she did what she did and maybe I can forgive. I'm so sorry. What? So you're not seeking advice about your guys' relationship, then what are we doing here?
Right.
Hi, we are the To Be Better podcast. We specialize in giving life experience relationship advice.
No, I mean we give advice of all types. We've told people we'd help them with friendships and kids and business and all of that, but
the whole email's about getting back together with her.
Yeah.
Even in regards to his son. Like, I don't want him to come from a broken home, so it is about you and her. I'll never be able to forget, and how do I touch her after that? This is more to ask. Is it possible to forgive and move forward and heal a family that is so broken by something so damaging? If so, any tips on how to proceed? Because I am lost and all I want is my son and all the time that I get with him. But if I choose to respect myself and stay away from her, then that cuts my time with him by 50 to 80%. I don't want to be away from him that much. I just don't know if I have it in me to make the sacrifice of self-love and self-respect, but I'm not sure I can respect myself for walking away.
So he's using his son as an excuse to try to work the relationship out.
Right.
Because he has custody of his other kid, which means he knows it's possible to get custody of his other kid.
Right. If a child was enough to save a relationship, there would be no divorced parents.
Absolutely. That is absolutely correct.
I would not be sitting here as a divorced parent.
DNA test.
DNA test.
So, yeah. So to answer the question, yes, people can be cheaters, realize the error in what they've done and correct their life. Hey, I realized that hurt you. I didn't think that we would get caught. Whatever the fucking thing was, I'm going to start working to be better and change things. Not, hey, I know that you caught me fucking my brother. He's going to move back in, get used to it.
Right.
That's not remorseful behavior.
P.S. In the last several days, she has shown remorse and regret, even though she'd not initially, and took 2 weeks to even give half a fuck I was gone. And she kicked the dude out, but the words almost seem hollow, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because they're hurting for money now.
Right.
Their breadwinner has left.
Correct.
The money has left the building. Mm-hmm. Let me go ahead and manipulate the situation so that you can come back and I can, not have to worry about ramen noodles. And mom can have whatever mom needs and, got to make sure that we have a roof over our head.
I wouldn't go back. I would say, look, if you guys are worried about money, I can take our son until you figure out your life situation. He'll be fed. He'll have a room. He'll be clothed. He'll be taken care of. You can come over on these days when I'm home and hang out with the child.
I wouldn't do shit until a DNA test was had.
Yeah. Do you want to do another one?
Yeah, we're only an hour in. There was 5 emails in there.
Okay.
Some of these I read a little bit of it and was like, hey, I want that one. Hey, I want that one. That was one of those emails, but I didn't get all the way into that. As soon as I was like, it's like a brother, I hit Jenny. Hey, I want that email. Because I knew that was what was going to happen.
So this one is titled Religion Advice. And this is from somebody who was actually in one of my TikTok lives on Valentine's Day.
Okay.
And I believe that this person is a pagan and they just wanted to have the conversation and get our opinions on things.
Okay. It's got to be better than the last email.
Yeah. So this one says, hi, I'm currently on your live on February 14th, 2024.
Hold on. The last email bothered me.
Okay.
Right? I'm not like, fuck you to that guy. It bothered me because men deal with this constantly.
Right. Like, where is the stand up for yourself?
Right.
Because you're a fucking human being.
Right. Where's your self-worth, dude?
Yeah.
So in a calm, this is what I think you should do because I probably wasn't very calm earlier when we were talking. Get a DNA test. Do not go back. Try to get custody of your kid if it is your kid. And find a woman who is more mature and more respectful and is actually worthy of the man that you claim that you are. Don't support a woman who doesn't fucking deserve it.
Right.
If you guys are new in a relationship, In-laws don't need to be living with you.
Correct.
Roommates don't need to be there. You guys don't even fucking know each other yet. That first year, you haven't even had a fight. Most first-year relationships go unscathed because it's sex and it's fun and it's new and there's dates.
And you don't want to pick fights.
Right. And you let a whole lot of shit slide that you wouldn't let slide, but that sets precedence for later in the relationship. Hey, I don't like it when you do that. That's crazy. It's been 3 years and you've never said that. I do it all the time. Well, I didn't want to hurt your feelings or didn't want to argue with you, but I'm letting you know now. Well, you should have fucking addressed that in the beginning.
Right.
We're 3 months in and we're courting right now, and this is a boundary for me and you just crossed it. I'm letting you know in the future I would appreciate it if you don't do that anymore. Right? Because now you're setting a precedence of the way that you're going to be treated. They walked all over you, bro, and you allowed it to fucking happen because you wouldn't hold true to your boundaries.
Yeah.
And if you really are that worried about losing the time with your son, get custody of your fucking kid.
I agree with all of that. As a woman, I'm disgusted by that woman's behavior.
Yeah. A lot of women
by that
do
girl.
that shit.
By that girl's behavior. Female. By that female's behavior.
Yeah.
I pride myself on being a good woman. Oh, I have to redo the good woman video. I've been so focused on the conspiracy theory thing coming up and
that's this weekend.
Apothecary and makeup and all that kind of shit. All right. So this is titled Religion Advice. I'm currently on your live. And that was my live.
Skip to the...
Okay. You were being asked about your religion, and I happened to click on your live. You went through the exact same thing I am going through. I am a tarot reader. I do readings, collect crystals. I have an altar. I offer items up to the gods. And I have been pagan since I was 17. I was forced into Christianity as a child and told I'd never be anything if you didn't accept God. My family had harsh views, and unfortunately, it turned me away from the church.
From the church? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I am now 23, going on 24. I have a husband who I met at 20, who also is pagan, and I feel very accepted. However, I realized anytime I do readings or read my Wiccan books, a lot of demonic things and bad news occurs and spirals out of control. Recently, my husband and I tried to go to my grandpa's church again, the one that made me turn away from Christianity, and he wasn't so kind to my husband. Grandpa wasn't kind to the husband. He made him cry in front of the church and told him if he didn't repent right then and there, he would be condemning me to hell and we would never be rich or happy or have the baby we want.
I have to pause you right there.
That's disgusting.
How did Grandpa make him cry?
Oh, I don't know.
Like you go to a church that has a God that you claim you don't believe in and that he claims he doesn't believe in, and you allow another person to shun you with their faith that you don't have, and it made you cry?
Yeah. Why? Why are we crying?
I have my theories. I'm not saying that the person judging was doing the right thing, but maybe that was the spirit coming over that dude being like, hey, you are fucking up. And even though we don't agree with what old boy is saying right now, like, this could be a wake up call for you. I don't know, but removing the religion aspect from it because they are not Christians and they don't have Christian faith. Why would you allow some... I did Norse mythology for a long fucking time.
Right.
Like, I believed in the Norse gods. That was my shit. To find myself in a Christian church with a pagan background and having somebody talk down to me, bro, you're an old man. You know how easy it would be for me to knock you over and break your hip? Like,
football tackle.
My gods are warriors.
Yeah.
Yours is not. Like, there's a whole thought process behind that. Granted, violence is not always the answer, but like, you get respect and give respect. And if people are screaming and talking down to you like that, you have the right to leave.
Correct.
Or defend yourself or fight back verbally if they're attacking you verbally. Like, I think it's very strange that a grown man started crying because a grandpa was belittling him.
Yeah. Grandpa's verbiage was kind of gross to me.
Yeah, and I agree.
It was disgusting.
I agree. Yeah. And that's why I don't like the church.
Yeah. Back into the email?
Yeah.
Mind you, we have been trying for 3 years and I have 2 angel babies, so that comment really hurt.
Okay, so that actually makes sense.
And Grandpa would know that.
Maybe.
For Grandpa to say that in front of the church. If Grandpa knew that.
Right.
So if Grandpa knew that, and for him to say that in front of the church, I would not talk to my family after that.
I wouldn't either. I'd write him the fuck off.
Yeah.
Before you go on, we do our sermons online. We get all of our scripture and all of our church services through the internet. We found churches that we like. We subscribe to them on YouTube, and when we're watching TV at night, we'll flip over to a sermon and we'll watch a sermon. Peaches and I have a relationship with God. Not a relationship to the church, not to pastors, not to the congregation, not to Susie fucking Homewrecker over here who's only religious on Sunday from 9 to 12. We have our faith, and we have our relationship with God. I don't need the church to have a relationship with God. I'm able to do that on my own.
Correct.
So to have somebody try to condemn me to hell and try to tell me about my relationship, you're not in my relationship, bro. If you are a Christian, you are supposed to hold other Christians accountable.
Correct.
If you are a Christian and they are not, you are supposed to love them, and you shouldn't say shit to them about their sin because they're not Christians. It's not your place to judge. That's how that works. But if they claim to be a Christian, you're supposed to hold them accountable. That's the community that comes in. It's no different than a husband looking at a new young husband and be like, bro, you're fucking up. Don't do that. Did you tell your wife happy anniversary today? That shit matters to them. It don't matter to us, but to them it's important. Like there is an accountability that needs to be had there. Did she say why they went to church? Did I miss that?
No. Nope. They did not say why. Just recently they went. They tried to go. Months passed, and I thought I'd never go back until recently we were buying our house and have been for a few years doing a land contract. All of a sudden, our home got broken into, our car broken into, we got COVID. We then fixed our car and called the police, got our home figured out. We're dealing with legal issues as the person we are buying the house from is the one who broke in. Our beloved dog died, and I lost my job.
Wow.
It was just one thing after another. My husband and I feel defeated. A lot more has happened, but I don't want to list a ton as it's not my main point. My dad, who never goes to church, recently started going to my grandpa's. He told me how welcoming everyone has been, and I really would love a relationship with my family despite their toxic qualities sometimes. I tried it out on the way to church. We got into a car accident. It was a string of our bad luck.
Tried what out on the way to church?
I have no idea. Tried it out on the way to church.
Okay.
I don't know. Mind you, I had put away our tarot cards and all my things. I don't know why the night before, but I felt like it was time to put my cards and books away. The deer came out of nowhere as we were 5 minutes from church. Our damage to our car was slim to none other than our hood is very dented and missing a headlight. The police officer who came out to the scene saw our car and the size of the deer and how the deer had hit our windshield and looked at my husband and I and said how lucky we are that my husband swerved last minute because that deer would have come through my side of the car and for sure injured me.
Wow.
So badly it could have led to death. For the first time in years, I felt like something or someone was watching over me. I continued to go to church even while shook up. I felt so loved for the first time at church and actually welcomed. We all sang, laughed, and hugged each other. I listened to my grandpa preach, and the words actually spoke to me. I want to go back this week as well. My husband is so supportive, he doesn't want to go himself as my grandpa had embarrassed and hurt his feelings and disrespected him, but he full on supports me going.
So he's allowing a relationship with a man to destroy his relationship with God.
Yes.
Or potential relationship with God because he claims to be a pagan.
Also because his ego was hurt.
It is ego, but it's also a lack of I hate to say communication, but that's what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm.
If I felt disrespected by somebody, I would pull them aside and be like, yo, I don't appreciate what you did. You made me feel really fucked up. You embarrassed me in front of all these people, and I don't appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would, in that scenario where it happened in front of the whole congregation, I would be like, just so you know, you doing that is going to turn people off to your faith. That is not the way that you convert people. Jesus is supposed to be about love.
Mm-hmm.
This is supposed to be about you taking in a lost sheep and being a shepherd. You don't berate the sheep because it got lost. You fucking save it.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's a conversation that needs to be had, not the other way around. Like you that's not how you show people that you love them. Mm-hmm. So your did she call him her husband? Should man up and talk to your grandfather.
Husband.
Your husband should man the fuck up. Go pull your grandfather aside and be like, hey, can I talk to you for a minute?
Mm-hmm.
and have that conversation. Let him know how you fucking feel. Dude, you're a man. You have the right to do that.
Yep.
I would tell him, if I was the husband and if this was us and I did not have my faith and I was like, fuck those people, and you were like, but I want you to support me in this, I would tell you flat out that I'm going to have a conversation with your grandfather. And if you were like, no, then I'm not going.
Right.
A stipulation to me being there is going to be your grandfather and I having a discussion.
Right. You standing up for yourself.
Right. And then once that discussion is had, he's going to apologize to me for embarrassing me in front of the entire congregation. Because what you did is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You belittled me. You challenged my man card. And because I am married to your granddaughter, I accepted that. I want to have a relationship with your God, and I'm trying to be supportive of my wife, but because of your actions, I don't want to be here.
Mm-hmm.
I would check that.
You made me feel unwelcome in church.
Right. Of all the fucking places that you're not supposed to feel unwelcome.
Yep.
That absolutely needs to be a very heavy conversation.
Mm-hmm. Shit
Bothers me when people do shit like that.
Me too. I was just thinking, I cannot stand it when people manipulate religion.
What was it? So we mentioned The Chosen season 4 in this because that's been our weekly date nights.
It has been, yeah.
We've been going to the theater because it's February and we've watched the first 3 episodes and we just watched the second 3 episodes. But one of the things that they were talking about in that was that when James and John, the Thunder brothers,
Mm-hmm. I love that they love that title.
the Sons of Thunder, I think is what he called it. As they were asking Jesus, because their Ema told them that they need to ask to be the right and left hand, because if you ask, it will be given to you. If you knock, the door will be opened.
Yep.
And they went and asked, and he's like, you have no idea what you're asking me. He said, you are viewing the world through the eyes of man. You are viewing the world as a Gentile does. You are trying to gain power the way the Romans do.
Mm.
Where is the love in that? Where is the understanding? He who is first will be last, and he who is last will be first. You must be here to serve. If you are a master, serve. You're supposed to serve those below you.
Yeah.
That's not servitude. That's not welcoming. That's not love. That is holding a position of power for your own fucking ego. That is exactly what Jesus preached against.
Mm-hmm. Dude stroked his own dick in that moment.
In front of everyone. I bet you he felt so powerful in that moment.
Oh, yeah. Because watch me talk down to this pagan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not how you get people to convert.
It's not. Back into the email.
Mm-hmm.
I feel conflicted. I love paganism. They welcomed me with open arms. I loved learning and doing everything. Our friends are also pagan. Why does it feel so wrong that I might want to be a Christian? Because Christians are looked down on and made fun of in today's society.
Jesus said, I did not come to bring peace, but a sword.
Yeah.
I will create division in households. There will be 2 against 3 and 3 against 2.
Mm-hmm.
We live in a time where being a Christian is fucking looked down upon.
Yeah.
You can make fun of Christianity until the cows come home, but you can't talk shit about any other religion or you're fucking wrong for doing it.
Right.
It's become acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to challenge your thought though. That's the enemy not wanting to lose you.
Correct. That's everything I was thinking of. The house problems, the car being damaged or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like that series of bad events is to push you back into what you were already doing and be like, okay, beating you into submission.
Every time I get pushed to the point of not wanting to do this anymore and like the enemy's about to win,
there's a ray of sunshine.
Dude, something happens. Every time. We had I guess I probably shouldn't tell too much of this story because it was posted in a private part of our Discord, so I'm not going to get too into it, but we got a message from somebody who has a friend that listens to the podcast who was on a waiting list for assisted unaliving that came off of that list because of our podcast.
That's a lot to hear.
Yep. The night that was posted was the same day that I was going through a barrage of hate online. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Like, it's cool. We're helping people. And like, there's people who stand behind us and there's a lot of love here in our community, but there's a lot of fucking hate that comes with it. And every time that hate gets ramped up, I'm like, okay, it can't get any worse than this. And then it fucking does. And it's like, dude, come on. But then you hear that, like, how can you go from just the fucking ugliest shit that can be said to you, and like the shit talking about the kids, and like all of the shit that comes across the internet, like it weighs on you because we're not made to deal with that kind of
intention, interaction.
right. Well, on that level of hatred either, you know,
Yeah.
on a primitive level, we have to fit in with our clan.
Right.
If our tribe shuns us, the chance of survival alone is very, very slim.
Correct.
So the need to fit in is fucking, it's there for all of us. So when you get a little bit of hate on the internet, like it eats at you. It's very hard to not fucking dwell on that shit. Even if there's 1,000 comments, one negative comment, especially if it's nasty, will fucking eat at you. And I'm in Discord, and like I started venting, and I got a notification that I was tagged in one of the fucking moderator chats, and went in there and read it, and like I broke down. It's crazy to think the weight that our words have on the internet, right?
Yeah.
Not just because of the negative things, but because we now know that there are multiple people who are still here because of the shit that we're talking about. The marriages that have been saved, the relationships with children that have been reconnected. Like
The families that are still together.
it's insane to me because we're not doing anything other than having a conversation. And I say that a lot. And I say it that way, and I normally just end that, but I know that what we're doing is being pushed by God. I believe that. We gave this to God when we started. We told straight out, was like, if you want this to be a thing, make it a thing. We're going to start it. We're going to try it because we feel like we're being called to do it. But if you want this to take off, make it take off. And it blew the fuck up. So every time we've had times where we're like, look, I think it's time we wrap this up. You know, we had a good little run. It's been fun. Something crazy happens. And we're like, well, we can't quit now. Like, this is the affirmation that we need. This is God going, hey, remember you said that you would do this. Don't fucking back out on me. So I don't know. I really try super hard not to get religious on these podcasts because I know there are a lot of people who listen to us that don't share our faith.
Right.
And that's fine. I love you anyways.
I want to clarify that I love you guys as well.
I don't want to see people suffer, and I don't want to see people hurting. That's the whole point of this. It's to help people be better, right? We want to help people be better. I just didn't think that it would ever come to the extremes of it. And because I see those extremes in our life, I know that when people are saying things like what the emailer is saying, I know it's the enemy. And you're not going to ever convince me otherwise.
I agree.
I have a new understanding of demons than, more so than I've ever had before.
I have a new understanding of demons now than I did when I was a pagan.
Yeah.
I've been praying all week. Things started to look up after months of bad news streaks. I feel like that's Lord's work.
Yep.
Any advice? Do you have any guilt when you transferred religion?
No. Nope. I didn't because I'm not going to put my salvation in the hands of another human. My relationship and my faith is mine. It's not ours. That's my faith. Your relationship and your faith is yours. We share that faith and we share the conversations of our faith, and we have similar ideals behind it. But your relationship with God and your relationship with God and my relationship with God it's our relationship. I don't want somebody else to come in here and, well, you're an idiot. Well, you know what? If I am, and I am fucking wrong, the worst that's going to happen is I'm going to have more peace, more love, and I will end up in a box. The best thing that's going to happen is I'm going to have more peace, more love, and a great afterlife.
I had a lot of emotions when I transferred away from like doing tarot card readings and whatnot, because I was good. I was really good. And now as a Christian, I am recognizing that I still have those same gifts. It just comes in a different form now. Like last night, I was having a conversation with Lauren, the mortician, and we were talking about a psychic. And I was like, I don't know why, but this lady's just giving me blueberry field. And Lauren was like, why did you say blueberry? And it was a connection between her and the psychic. It's crazy. And when I was doing the tarot card readings, I was able to tell things to people about themselves that I didn't know. So there was things going on there. Looking at it now, I do view that as dark magic, dark forces. It is. There was almost like a grieving process for me to transition my religions. I was a little bit sad to put away the tarot cards because those were a big deal to me. I started reading tarot cards when I was like 10 to 12 years old, in that age range. So it was a big part of my life for a while. And putting that away and not dealing with those things anymore, not dealing with the occult, it was the closing of a chapter. And there was definitely a let go of emotion. Finding God was one of the greatest things that I've experienced.
Do you think that your tarot card thing, because you had been doing it for so long, that it was part of your identity and that's why it was hard to let it go?
I would say yes, it did become a part of my identity. There were moments where I would get offended if somebody else in our friend group wanted to do tarot cards.
Because it's a you thing,
Because
right?
it's a me thing, yeah.
Right.
It was, look at me, I'm different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely an ego in that.
Mm-hmm. There was 100% an ego in it. When people would tell me the things like, oh my God, how did you know that? Stop it. No one could have ever known that. How did you know that? It was an ego boost.
Yeah.
Felt like a wizard. Like I was seeing into people's pasts and their futures and reading their present.
And now you know that that's actually called discernment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that spiritual leaders have. And like people who experience empathy really heavily, if they have faith, they believe it's the spirit, not a demon.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think that where you put your attention to matters. I think if you open your door to negative shit's coming through that bitch.
100%.
So I don't know. Is there more to the email?
There is.
Okay.
Side note, we also been on fertility meds for 4 months, and after going to church, I went to my regular checkup to see if the meds were helping me ovulate, and it could be just chance, but I've been praying to get pregnant this cycle, and my doctor told me I finally responded well to my meds and produced 3 healthy eggs this cycle, meaning I have a higher chance than ever before in 3 years of trying to get pregnant. I feel like God is rewarding me and answering my prayers. Sorry, this is a long one. I've never sent an email to be read, but I really love some advice. I haven't told anyone about my feelings on it, and I was hoping for someone who went through the same thing could give me advice, so I'm lucky to have went on your TikTok live right when I did. I've dedicated myself to Christ. My life, the choices that I make. We did a live stream where we were talking about, I can't remember what the topic was, but somebody said religion shouldn't be brought into it.
Yeah.
And
That was the live stream we just did.
it was the live stream. And religion should 100% be brought into it if you are religious.
Right.
You should be thinking about the consequences after death and how it could affect your spiritual afterlife. Because if that is what you believe in, your choices will 100% affect that.
Yeah.
So every choice I make in my day, I wake up and the first thing I do is thank the Lord for, I woke up today. Thank you for my husband being healthy and thank you for my healthy children. And I hope today I get done what I'm meant to get done. Then at the end of the day, I always thank for us all getting through the day safely, us going to bed at night. Since I have devoted myself to God, I have not had a major catastrophe in my life.
Because we're walking in the fog,
We're walking in the fog.
as Tyler says.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tyler from a different church. It's my homie.
Oh, I wish their church was closer.
Me too.
I would go.
I would. Yeah. Yep. So he calls it walking in the fog, meaning the favor of God. And I give my problems to God, right? Like when I pray, if I'm going through something, I don't want to deal with this.
Mm-hmm. I do that too.
Take it from me. Like if this is supposed to be a thing, it'll be a thing. And if it's not, I know that you'll take care of it. And then I try not to worry about it anymore. And there are times that like something will happen and I'll get super fucking anxious, right? And like I'll start panicking, I'll get heart palpitations, like, and I'll feel a panic attack coming on. Or I'll start to obsess over something. And like at that point, I just have to pray over and over and over again for it to go away. And I find that focusing on the prayer aspect of it and giving it away makes that go away because I'm not focusing on every single what if scenario that's not coming into play yet.
That you can't control.
That I can't control.
Yeah.
And that's always where it comes down because I can't control the outcome of things, but I believe that my higher power can.
Mm-hmm.
So giving those things to my God and letting him deal with things like makes it so that I don't have to worry about it. I am very big on giving it to God. And if you really wanted to get pregnant and you found faith now and you're praying to God and you're fertile and you've been trying to do this for 3 years
That's not a coincidence.
It's not. There's no way it is because if that was the case, it would have happened while you were still worshiping your pagan gods. Like,
right.
I don't know.
I don't believe in coincidences.
No, I don't either.
I don't believe in chance happenings, chance meetings. Everything happens for a reason. There is a cause and effect. And there's a lesson learned in all of that.
Do you think it's easier, like life is easier, having your faith?
Oh, 100% yes. My anxiety has gone down. My depression has gone down. I'm still sad on days. I'm calling them low energy now on my lower days. It's changed. It's totally reframed the way that I view reality. There is now a coziness and a comfort deep in my soul, like right behind my stomach. I don't know how to explain it. It just feels like hot cocoa on a Christmas day, cuddled up next to my husband in front of a fireplace with the kids playing with their new toys. Just no worries, absolute peace.
I feel like when I have those moments is when the attacks start.
Oh yeah, me too. Because life is going too good.
Yeah. The other thing that I was going to say is that other than giving, because I remember the other thing that I was going to say is other than giving my problems to God, my prayers are always gratitude.
Oh yeah, me too.
My biggest prayers are always that I don't fuck up as a husband, that I don't fuck the kids up, and that we continue to touch people through the podcast.
Yeah.
It's always the same thing. Like every day it's the same thing. I'm so grateful that you're in my life. I'm grateful that I get to be here for the kids. Please give me the patience and wisdom I need to be there for the kids the way that they need it, that I don't fuck my marriage up, and that we continue to help people through the podcast. Every single day, that is one of my prayers.
Mine too.
I want this to be I want this to really be something, right? I know that to some people we're a big deal.
Yeah.
To me, we are just two idiots with a microphone, right? Like we have conversations sometimes and I play it back and I'm like, that was so good.
Yeah.
Right. While editing, like, and we'll have those conversations, but in the moment, it doesn't feel that way. It feels like we're just having a conversation. And in those moments, I think that that's a higher power speaking through us, because I'll play shit back and be like, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Right. Like, but I think that it's, so anyways, I think that people believe that we're a lot bigger. Some people believe we're a lot bigger than we are. And I believe that we're no one. And I would like to be someone. I would like to see this podcast blow up to 1 million downloads a month and, 10 million followers on YouTube, and it to really, truly be something, and do seminars and do live coaching and have sit downs with people. And like, I just don't think that's going to happen until we're ready to deal with the
backlash that comes with that.
Right. Because we've gotten to where we're at and there's a lot of hate and it's very hard on us. And I don't think that we can grow anymore and continue to deal with that, because I don't think that we would be able to take it. So our views went from, we went from 0 to 100,000 in 6 months, and from 100,000 to 165,000 in like 8 months. So like we slowed way the fuck down, but the hate started. And I think that that's also part of God's plan. I think that we will pick back up and it'll take off again when we're able to deal with it. And I think that's conversations and things that we need to pray about. But
yeah,
I'll pray for you, emailer.
Me too.
I'll pray for your husband too, even though he may not want it. And your grandfather, because your grandfather, boy, does he needs guidance.
He does. When you think about it though, your grandfather wasn't wrong. You're going to church and you're pregnant.
Yeah. Well, he was wrong in the way that he dealt with the husband.
His delivering of it was 100% incorrect.
Yep.
If he had delivered the message differently, that could have been a private conversation after church ended.
Could have been, let me pray for you.
Right.
Let me pray for you instead of condemn you. Right?
I think that should be a part of that conversation too.
Yeah. I can promise you that the people that have led me spiritually in my life, if I ever called them for advice in a moment of need and like just guidance or community, and they were to shit on me, that would destroy not only that connection that I have to those people, but it would affect my relationship.
Yeah.
With God. Like, why would you, like, are you that angry with me that you just let that happen? Like, where's your guidance in this? You're supposed to be guiding people. You're supposed to be the shepherd. I don't know.
So you're saying that as yourself?
As myself.
Yeah. I wouldn't take that as personally from God. Like, why would you let somebody do this? Because man has free will.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
But so what I'm saying is in the moment where I'm trying to be guided to the light.
Got you. Okay. So you're the pagan.
Right.
Going. Okay. That makes sense to me now.
Right.
Gotcha.
I understand my faith. If I called my mom and had a question about faith and she shit on me, I would have a problem with that. Even now in my faith, that would be a huge problem for me.
Yeah.
Like why would, like, I don't understand. Why would you belittle me because you know more than me? Like I'm fucking an infant learning to crawl right now in my faith. I don't need you to berate me because you fucking are more knowledgeable. Like, teach me, help me learn. You don't scream at a child when they spill water. You help them clean it up, show them how to clean the mess up, and put the fucking cap on their water bottle. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Anyways.
Next email.
Yeah. Last one.
I was wondering your opinion.
Oh man.
Hello, I'm a 30-year-old male. I watch all of your videos and find the two of you amazing. My question is, my fiance and I recently went to her first work event. Her coworker / friend, who is a male, who she talks to daily, and she also goes to the gym with him. We are going to call this person Bob. She has been close to Bob for many years, to the point where he has had issues with his downstairs, and she has checked it for him before we started dating. Now to get to the issue.
Well, wait, we're not going to just skip by that.
Okay.
If I have an issue with my dingling, I'm going to a doctor, bro, not to some random stranger or woman or another person. I'm going to a doctor.
Yeah, I was just
That's a serious body part, bro. Like, hey, can you give me an opinion? No, I need a doctor. And then I need another doctor because my guy is injured. What's going on here? Like, that's not...
Well, what if she's a doctor? Doesn't say if she's a doctor or something, but...
I'm going to go to a doctor that I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't... if I were a doctor and one of my male friends came to me and said, hey, can you look at my dick and tell me if this is right?
No.
No.
Right. That's crossed the boundary. Would you go to a gynecologist that was one of your best friends?
No.
Right.
I can't have you look at me and then look at me.
Right. Yep. Okay. So we're on the same page with that.
I can't even go to the same person twice for a wax.
I'm willing to bet that she's seen that dingling more than once.
Yeah. Now to get to the issue. I am a very dominant male. At this event, she touched his arm and his back. Not like a punch to the arm, but a caress sort of touch. That was a no-go for me. I took her aside and told her between the two of us it made me uncomfortable. Not even 10 minutes later, she did it again.
Because it's habitual and this is normal behavior between the two of them.
It is habitual,
Yep.
yeah. She is doing it without thinking.
Because this is normal behavior between them.
Correct, yep. I made myself angry. I made myself angry because I was thinking, so you guys are engaged. How is this the first work function you're attending? And how is this the first time you're watching her interact with this close friend?
Right.
If they're such close friends, do they not hang out outside of work?
Well, so the work function, I guess I could understand because some places don't really have them.
Yeah.
But if they go to the gym together, you would want to know who your girl's training partner is. Like,
yeah, we're going to the gym together.
Yeah.
Like, I'm coming with you.
At least once to meet the guy, right?
Yeah.
Like, you want to understand what that relationship looks like. That's normal shit.
Yeah.
Especially with your girl. Like,
and we know how chicks dress up, go to the gym.
right.
Over my dead body, would you have a female workout partner? That's not me.
Yeah.
Why are you chuckling?
Because oh man. Is she getting dressed up to go to the gym? Is she getting her makeup done, doing her hair, getting on her little fucking booty shorts that she can go work out with her guy friend? Like the normal caressing behavior, like that's all I need. If you did that once,
I don't touch people.
And I pulled you aside and I was like, hey, you just crossed a major fucking line for me. I would appreciate it if you don't touch him. Like, we are together. You being intimate in that way is a problem for me.
Right.
And you went and did it 10 minutes later. I would immediately go, okay, this is normally how she is with this person. I am not okay with this. It's time to call this off.
Yeah.
Especially them not being married.
100%.
Yep. I gave you my boundary. You crossed it without thinking. This is your normal behavior. I know that there's something more going on here other than friendship.
Correct.
It may not be physical, sexual, intimate,
It's
but
emotional.
there is definitely intimacy between these two.
Yep.
I'm not going to try to compete or vie for that, especially in a dating phase. If that's the way that you are with other men, you go be that way with other men, and I'll find me a wholesome woman who's not going to disrespect my boundaries. That would have been the end of that. Yep.
That night, I'm separating. I'm good. I need to think about this.
Yeah. If it would have happened like 3 weeks later, it probably wouldn't have been such a severe thing. But if you told me not to do something or that I did something that bothered you in the moment and I immediately did it, it means that I wasn't listening.
Right.
Right? I didn't hear you. I didn't validate. I didn't understand what you meant. I placated that conversation to get you to shut the fuck up so I can go back to my friend who's drinking over there. That's exactly what that tells me.
The crazy in me would ruin this whole work function.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Possibly to the point that you lose your job and now we're both fucked. Like, really, I would have to remove myself from that situation and really, 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 really think about what my next move is.
Yeah.
Because if I don't think about it, there is going to be glass everywhere. I'm not physically harming anybody, but I'm causing a fucking scene.
Yeah.
Back into the email.
Did they say how long they were together? Or just that they're engaged?
That they're engaged.
Okay.
She apologized again, but how can I justify being okay with it when I told her it made me uncomfortable and just a few moments later she does it again? For me, I would never let another woman touch me at all out of respect for her. Am I wrong for later turning into a bit of an argument? What? Am I wrong for later turning it into a bit of an argument? Okay. Right. Because I feel like I wasn't wrong and I stuck to my guns.
Okay, so let's pause there because there's a lot to break down.
Okay.
The first part of that we addressed before he got to it.
Yes.
The second part of that is that you personally would not let somebody else touch you because you view that as wrong. Mm-hmm. So your standards are clearly higher than hers.
Yes.
She has a relationship with this dude in some fashion. Again, it may not be physical intimacy, but there is an intimate relationship there to the point where she feels comfortable in touching him. If that's the relationship that she has with men and she is a touchy-feely person and you have a problem with that, she's not for you.
Correct.
Period. Because you are always going to have a problem with her touching other people because you as a man would not have let another woman touch you because you are in a committed relationship. You believe in monogamy, right? So that's that aspect of it. The other aspect of it is you went and started an argument. Why?
Well, why did it have to be an argument?
Right. You could have simply said what you did was disrespectful. I don't appreciate that you didn't listen because I told you my boundary and you chose to ignore me while I was speaking. I see that. You've shown me that I'm not a priority, that you're not willing to hear the things that bother me. And now I need to assess my situation and decide whether or not moving forward, this is something I want. And that could have been the fucking end of it.
Right.
No yelling, no hostility, no arguing.
Even
no
if she started.
Right. You could have been like, look, I've said what I had to say. I know that you didn't hear me because you don't listen. Because I tried to talk to you at the party and you decided not to listen then either. So I've stated what I needed to say. You can choose to listen or not. And then you could have left. You don't have to go back and forth with people. When you engage somebody in an argument, that's a choice. You're choosing to have that.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that you get to say what you want to say and then walk away so that they can't respond.
Right.
They have a right to respond, but once their response is over, you do not have to continue that engagement. Mm-hmm. I heard you. And then leave.
Yep. Inside, my blood boils because I don't want to come across as controlling because that isn't what I want for us.
Okay, so that's society telling you that if you're a man and you have boundaries, you're controlling.
Yeah. It's not controlling. My husband and I have a very clear standard that we do not touch the opposite sex in any sort of way. Right? If your sister wants a hug, give her a hug.
Right.
If your long-term best friend loses a child, give the woman a hug.
Right. But we also have the understanding of the whole head nod thing from 300.
Yeah.
Because when Wakenya and Scott come down, the first time Wakenya tried to hug me, I looked at you and you were like, go ahead. Because they're huggers, right? But it was also that they have become friends of ours, and it's the only time we ever see them is once every fucking 6 or 7 months when they show up for the podcast. And like we both hug Ant every time we see him. So it's not, there is an understanding that needs to be had. And unless you have a foundation and you've had these conversations, you will never know that's a thing. Mm-hmm. If somebody came up to me and was like, huh, and I looked at you and you were like, I'd face palm their ass like a basketball and be like, hold the fuck up. I'm not getting in trouble. Mm-hmm. You ain't doing that to me. Do you see that guy in the car where he was like, whenever I'm driving and somebody looks over at me and tries to talk to me, he's like, hey.
No, I haven't. I love that though.
Do you see the video of the guy who's really tall and the chick was standing there trying to hit on him and she's like, how would you rate me on a 1 to 10? He's like, I'm married.
I have seen that and she got shit on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that video. Those females who think that they can get married men to say that they're attractive just to prove that they can get a married man to look away from their wife, you're fucking disgusting.
Yeah, it's a problem. They are definitely part of the problem.
I find that to be more hoe behavior than women who actually sleep around with multiple men. I know.
Are you hostile right now? Why are you throwing stuff?
I didn't. It fell.
Okay.
What?
You're a little frustrated.
I am a little frustrated. Because I am that try me bitch, and I really don't want to go to jail and leave my children without a mother.
Yeah, I get that. You don't have to worry about that.
Thank you for saving me a lifetime sentence. You're doing me such a service, babe. I appreciate it.
And who says we don't serve each other?
Right?
I understand that that's society, and I understand that for the most part it's clickbait and it's to get people to view, and it's for, it's no different than women showing themselves half naked on the internet, or men for that matter doing the fucking lumberjack shit. It is literally just a thirst trap. It's a way for people to feel validated and to get attention.
No,
it is. That's why
there are women who will only get with married men just to prove that they can get a married man because of how attractive they are. That is their life goal.
Was that the end of the email?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay. Well, what is your thoughts for this guy? Because we ended with his blood was boiling.
Oh, I think we addressed everything in the email.
Okay.
I wouldn't tolerate that behavior.
I wouldn't either.
My knee jerk reaction is always violence. And that's why.
And yet you're not a violent person, which is fucking weird.
No, because I can't be violent.
Yeah.
Like, I was holding back in that rage room because I am terrified of being violent.
So you're saying we should go again and you should be able to just let loose?
I wouldn't have to be unrestricted. Like that face thing that I had on, I couldn't put my hands all the way back because I have stubby arms and I couldn't really swing. If I said, hey, babe, don't touch that woman again, and moments later you touched that woman again, I'd want to break your fucking arm. Like, yeah, it would do something in me. I don't know how people, even if you came to me and was like, hey, babe, don't do that again. That made me uncomfortable. I don't like the way you touched that man. How do you ignore that?
The behavior of that woman is habitual. And that's what I'm hung up on. And that entire thing is it's just normal behavior for her. So if that's how she is with men, she's probably an overly flirty woman.
It didn't say men, though. It said this specific person named Bob.
Well, he saw it with Bob.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't go to the gym with the two of them.
Right.
We don't know what their gym time looks like. We don't know what their other time looks like if they're hanging out. There's an intimacy there. And if it is with other men and we just haven't seen that, or maybe I'm just making that up and that's who she is as a person, that's also problematic for me. I wouldn't want a woman who's available to everyone. I want a woman who's available to me. That's the whole point of having a monogamous relationship.
Right.
I'm not going to dedicate myself and be faithful and loyal to somebody that is not loyal and faithful to me.
Right.
I want to be a priority. And if you can't make me a priority and I'm not number one to you, like you're number one to me, then you're going to fall somewhere way down the list. And I don't care at that point because you've shown me where I lie in that hierarchy of your life.
Right.
You asked, how do you do that? And when it comes down to it, that person is just that person. She doesn't give a shit about his feelings or what he wants, because if she truly cared about the way he feels about things, she would have said, okay, babe, I realize that bothered you. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. And when she started to, she would have stopped because there would have been a red light going off in her fucking brain, that little buzzer.
He just told me.
Yeah. She could have like touched him and stopped him, like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You know what I mean? And like made eye contact to let him know that like, hey, I realized I was doing that and I'm stopping. But that would have also had to have been cognitive. She would have had to have been aware that her habitual behavior was doing that. The deeper issue in all of this for me is that she does it without thinking, which means she does it all the fucking time.
Right. I'm also thinking if they have other friends and she's done this to other males, I'm sure he would have commented on it already and would not have been already super frustrated seeing that with Bob, which tells me that's not a regular thing that she does with men. And she
definitely has a relationship with Bob
on some deeper level. Yeah. I only like it when you touch me. The thought of being in the gym and somebody grazing me, I don't want to be touched. I don't like, when I was working, there was somebody that I worked with who his mode of saying, excuse me, was putting his hands on my hips and scooching past me. Don't fucking touch me.
Yeah.
And some people are just like that. I don't know, like you said before, if that's the kind of woman she is and she just touches every man that she interacts with, that does say something about her, and also that is not your person.
Right. Well, I think at this point it's not his person anyways. I think that when boundaries are established and those boundaries are crossed, there needs to be a consequence. Right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, even if it's I'm going to go stay in a hotel for a weekend. Right? Like, I think that's manipulative in a way, but in the moment right now, I can't think of another consequence for that. Or maybe the consequence is, hey, I don't want you going to the gym with him anymore. Like, I don't trust the two of you together because of what just happened.
Right.
But then people will be like, that's controlling.
Nah, bro, you just broke my trust.
Right.
So we're just going to ignore the whole aspect of that and just call me controlling?
Of course they will, because men aren't supposed to have boundaries.
Disgusting.
It is. Women can set boundaries all they want. If men cross those boundaries, we're called all kinds of fucking names. But if we set a boundary and you guys do the opposite of it, we're controlling.
You have to love us anyway.
Right. I think when men realize that they're the prize because pussy has flooded the market and like it's readily available all the fucking time, and that we actually provide more in a marriage than women do, the dating game will change.
I didn't think that you thought you provided more than I do in our marriage.
In marriage, yeah, I do. My job is to protect, provide, and lead our house. Right? So when I start dating and I am that guy by nature to do those things, I can do that in a relationship. So for me to go from relationship to marriage, there's no inherent value other than my faith and my commitment and my vows to my now wife, right? Because I'm going to get the same thing as a man in a relationship that I can get from marriage. There's no difference. So when a man gets married, we give up half of our shit. There'll be child support that has to be paid.
You mean in the event of a divorce?
In the event of a divorce. But there's nothing that I can get from a marriage that I can't get from a relationship. And women can't say the same thing.
Why?
Because in the event of a divorce, you get half of our shit. Because the court system is going to step in. And most people don't have prenuptial agreements. It's going to dictate the way the outcome of the relationship is. So in that aspect, yes, that's what I mean in that. I know that you bring a whole lot to our marriage. I'm not saying you don't bring anything, but I could have gotten the same version of you as my girlfriend living here, living the life that we have as I would have gotten if I never gave you our vows. Because that's who you are as a woman, just like this is who I am as a man. He who finds a wife finds a good thing, not he who finds a girlfriend that eventually becomes a fiance that may become a wife one day. We treated each other as if we were married from the jump. We take care of each other. We serve each other. We before our faith, lived a biblical life in the way that we treat each other with the traditional gender roles and traditional values. And like, so I think that even without our covenant between you and I and God, our relationship would have been exactly like it is right now. I don't think that anything would have changed.
Without God?
Without our marriage, our relationship would have been exactly the same. Our marriage is a covenant between you and I, an agreement between you and I and our God to bless our marriage, to like have a marriage. That's what our marriage is. Our relationship is the same as it was before marriage as it is today.
I don't think it is.
I do. You didn't change when we got married. Thank fucking God.
Oh.
You didn't change when we got married, but you treated me as if you were my wife from the beginning.
Yeah.
I didn't have to ask you for any of that. Like that's just the way we are. I have treated you as if I was your protector, even when I wasn't supposed to be. So even when we were just courting, if you had a problem, you would call me and I would come and take care of said problem. And if you were waiting for a man to be that protector for you and you were trying to find somebody and I was not that person, do you think that all of a sudden marrying me is going to give you that person?
Oh God, no. It's
not going to change. You are who you are, and your relationship will be the way that you build your foundation for your relationship to be. So I personally believe there's something beautiful about marriage and the covenant that comes into it because of our faith. But I don't like that the government gets involved. And I don't like that there's so much risk for men to be married or to even have kids.
Yeah.
And even the kid thing is only because a father's rights get stripped away. You know, we've seen court agreements where a father's only allowed to see his kid for 4 hours a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
16 hours a month.
Yeah. Yep. Not even a full day.
That poor child.
In a month, not even a full day. You know what I mean?
That breaks my heart.
Right.
Like.
Yep. And there are men out there, obviously, who want that. I'm not saying that there aren't.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I meant now by the whole marriage thing? Okay, because I could see you were getting upset. You were starting to get teary-eyed like I had.
Yeah, I'm emotional right now. I've been crying for the last 4 days.
Why?
Hormones.
That's fun.
Women go through a yearly cycle in a month.
Yeah.
Every single month. Because of the way that our bodies are set up. I'm fucking exhausted. I want to take a break from me for a little bit.
Do you think that you bring something different to our marriage than you did to our relationship?
Now?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What?
Prayer.
That's our faith. That's
Is that
not
our
marriage.
faith though?
Because we could have had that without we could have still had that without our marriage. If you would have found your faith when we were just dating and we shared our faith, you would still pray for me as your man, just the way that you took care of me as your man.
I don't know. I don't think that I would have ever found God if we didn't get married.
No?
Yeah.
Now you got to elaborate on that because that's...
So that was one of those things. I'm going to start crying. Marriage was one of those things that you and I talked about that was never going to happen. I believed that we were never going to get married. You were never going to propose to me. That was off the table. Never going to happen. And I would pray for it. Like one of those things of like, prove yourself if you're really real. And like I always hoped for it. I'm trying to control myself so I don't start sobbing. I was still pagan when we were dating and living together and doing that thing. Like you proposing to me was one of those moments where I was like, okay. Because you are a man of your convictions. It takes a lot for you to change your mind. And after witnessing what you've been through and hearing about other things that you've been through and knowing who you are as a person, I did not believe you would ever change your mind on that. The sky is blue and my now husband did not want to get married. Those were facts.
So then why did you treat me as if you were a wife?
Because I love you. And I wanted to be. And in being with you, even though we weren't married at the time, you still let me do those things. So it was like the compromise for me. If being with you meant that we never got married, but I still got to live that life, I was okay with it. So
then, I'm sorry that I made you cry. So then back to my original question, what has changed other than we are now having a covenant between the two of us and God in our relationship?
Because I think about things differently. I myself as a person have changed from when we were dating.
Well, so have I. But you don't think that you would have changed anyways?
Not the way that I have, no.
Can you elaborate on that? I'm really trying to understand because I see you exactly as I've always seen you.
So I feel like I have, this is going to sound, I can't believe I'm about to fucking say this. I feel as if I have elevated my consciousness.
Okay.
I have a different understanding of life. I have a different understanding of what it means to be alive. I have a different understanding of what it means to be a wife, to be your wife.
Okay. But that comes from our faith though, right? Or am I wrong in that?
I think by extension, because of our faith, it's happened. A lot of the books and the self-help things that I have ingested, a lot of it is faith-based. And I would have never listened to those books. I would have never read those books because they are faith-based. So the information that I have gained to cultivate myself into who I am now as a woman and as a wife and as a mother would not have been a thing because me then would have never glanced at those books. I wouldn't have the information that I have now. I would have evolved in a different way. I don't think it would have been the healthiest version of me. It would have been a healthier version, but not who I am now.
Do you think that, see, I guess I can't really separate those two, but.
Okay, let me give you another example. I'm going to interrupt you. I'm sorry. Another example is there are days where like you're really going through it and you say something out the side of your neck without recognizing it. And in the moment, I want to be Like, I want to challenge you. And now, I don't know, my view on everything is different. I can view your demons separate from you. I know when you're my husband, and I know when you're suffering from whatever demon is latched to you that day. I have a different understanding of how our energies work. I have a different understanding of how you work. I feel like since finding our faith and becoming married and all of those series of events, I'm able to attune myself to you on a different frequency than I was before.
Okay.
I'm a better wife now than I would have been if we had just stayed domestic partners.
And what if we would have gotten married without our faith? Because this is all tying back to our faith. Are you saying that our marriage is what it is because of our faith?
No.
Okay. I mean, and if you were, that's fine. I will totally give fucking gratitude to God.
Yeah.
Like, because our relationship is insane. Like, in a good way. Our marriage is dope as fuck. Like, so if you want to give glory to God on that, I'm here for that.
Okay. Now I'm changing my mind. Everything in me is telling me right now that yes, that is. If I had not found my faith. So I didn't have faith when we got married. And that was one of those things where like I put it away in the back of my mind. Like, okay, well, that was a taste of what it was like if he were to be here.
Yeah.
The events, everything, like after Hurricane Ian and the podcast starting, that's just too many things for me to ignore at that point. Yeah, I would say that I am the wife I am now because of God. I view everything I do differently. I think long-term into the future, like if I'm coming to you about a problem I have, especially if it's in regards into your actions, I really have to think about whether or not it matters, right? Because sometimes my feelings just get hurt. You've done absolutely nothing wrong, and this is a me problem. So knowing that it's a me problem, do I bring it to you? And then in 6 months, like our whole course of our marriage has changed because now I have brought something to you that was a me problem, and now you view me differently because something like that like has eaten away at you because of what I did. Like, why would you let something like that bother you? I don't know. I have a different emotional strength to me. I have a different intellectual wisdom. I have grown in ways I have never foreseen myself growing. If I hadn't found God, I think about the roads we could have taken. And I think at some point there would have been problems because of me. Finding faith has helped my anxiety. It has helped alleviate a lot of my BPD, like my abandonment, my taking things super personally. Fucking give that all to God. Why am I going to sit here and worry about abandonment when my husband hasn't even left a house during a disruption? That's my answer. And that's probably really discombobulated.
No, I mean, a lot of it makes sense. I can't separate what would have happened had we not gotten married because I have treated you as if you were my wife from the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's how I viewed you. And like, we did have disruptions in the beginning. We had a couple of them. They weren't major, but we had some where, we were still trying to learn how to communicate. Mm-hmm. And I've always viewed it that way, but we haven't had a disruption in almost a year. Right. So like, I view that as all lack of communication, but I also don't know what you give to God and what you don't, just like you don't know what I give to God and what I don't, because those are conversations for us and our God, not for each other. But I know that there are times where something will happen and like I will do something and I'll know I did something. And sometimes it just happens and it doesn't really warrant a conversation, and I'll pray about it and move past it. You've obviously moved past it because in the moment you weren't like, hey, I don't appreciate that. And we talk about the big stuff. We don't argue about it. There are conversations, but some of the small stuff is just small stuff. Like you're definitely picking our battles, right? But we don't let things get to the point of snowballing either. So if something is eating and we can figure out what that is, then we talk about why it's eating at us so that we can not have that happen, move forward. No different than the previous emailer going, hey, I would appreciate it if you don't do that again, to his fiance. Yeah. And then her ignoring that and doing it anyways, right? It's like the difference is that when we bring something to each other, we are actively trying to work through it. Yeah. From my perspective in that, if you come to me with something and you say, I saw that you put your hand on that woman's lower back and I would appreciate you don't do that. And then 2 seconds later, I did it again, not thinking about it. That would make me an ineffective leader. It would show you that I don't care enough about you to effectively lead you in this life. It would show you that your safety which falls under protection, right, is not that much of a priority because in the moment I'm putting somebody else's attention above my wife's, right? And I do see that as a faith thing. It's always kind of been who I am, but I definitely agree that in that aspect, the faith changes things a little bit because I understand that my duty as your husband is to lead and to serve.
Yeah.
Not just to lead and boss. You know what I mean? Like I do believe that men are put here as servants to everyone.
Yeah.
Sometimes that looks like us leading. And when anybody who has never been in a true leadership position, you have no idea how heavy that weight is on your shoulders because you can lead and fail and blame everyone else, or you can realize that you are the one that's in charge and that fuck up falls on your shoulders solely.
Yeah.
Because even if you asked the 50 other people in your group and you were the final decision maker, that final decision is yours. Even if everyone in the group said it was the right decision and it was wrong, it's your decision.
Yeah.
So there is a burden to leadership. I don't know. I guess maybe in that aspect, I do things differently or see things differently, but I see that from our faith.
Yeah.
So I agree that our faith has changed our marriage, but that's our faith that's changed our marriage, not being married. And I'm fine with that. I'll give that glory to God. Like I'm totally okay with him being the one that's running this fucking household. I'll submit to him all day long. We've been doing it for a year and a half now, almost a year and a half with this podcast.
Yeah.
And in many other facets. So like, you know, we've had deals that we've prayed about that we've not done because it didn't feel right to us. And we have other things that we're working on now where we've talked and prayed about it. And I feel really good about what's happening moving forward. And I think we're going to sign a deal with a t-shirt guy. Like we just have a lot of things that are going on, but I don't want to just do something on a whim. Like if something doesn't feel right to me, I'm going to pray about the shit until I understand why it doesn't feel right. And then I'm going to make decisions.
Marriage for me was a miracle.
Do you really believe that?
With you, yeah.
It's a hell of a statement. And was it because I was so adamant about never doing this again?
Because of the way that men are treated with marriage.
Right.
And divorce and...
I didn't see a point in it.
All of that, yeah.
I was that guy that was on the internet being like, I will never get married. There's no fucking reason to get married. It's bullshit. It's a huge fucking risk with no real reward. Because
and I accepted that.
I could get everything from a relationship that I can get from a marriage. But when you add the faith into it, it changes things. You're right. It does. It absolutely fucking does. And it could be any faith as long as it holds marriage in like a
high regard.
Right. Instead of just another thing that can be easily dissolved.
This is a sacred thing.
Yeah. Yep.
I wasn't expecting this.
I wasn't either. I mean, it's been a 15-minute conversation of all of this, but I definitely think that, like, I know we're doing a photo shoot when we go to Arizona, but I would like to redo our vows in a very, like, religious ceremony. I
want to do that too.
But I don't want to have people there.
Me either.
Like, I would like it to be us and then somebody to officiate the vow ceremony. And I don't know how that looks, but...
Yeah, I was thinking, I've been thinking for like the last few weeks that I want to do a vow renewal with our religion involved in it.
I mean, we have our marriage. It's our marriage.
We do, yeah.
And we've since had our faith, which has strengthened the covenant that we have with God, but like we didn't have that aspect of things.
I want to redevote myself to you.
Yeah.
Saying that makes me want to cry.
I know. I know.
Did it make you emotional the way it made me emotional?
Well, I saw you starting to get emotional right away, and that's what I focused on, so it made mine go away. But with that being said, guys, remember you are the authors of your own life.
So grab a pen.
And we will see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.